Hi everybody, welcome back to In the Kitchen with Mama. Today I'm going to be doing two entrees. I'm going to be doing a chicken pot pie and then I'm going to be doing chicken and dumplings. The prep work is about the same, but it is going to be two different videos. One's going to be the chicken and dumplings, one's going to be the chicken pot pie. So for the chicken pot pie, I use canned soup, which is just as good as if you made it. Campbell's cream of chicken with herbs and cream of mushroom with roasted garlic. And Pillsbury's pie crust. I use frozen peas, and I'm going to be using 2 single packets of the peas. I use russet potatoes. Now I may not use all 3 of these. Fresh carrots, which I'm going to chunk thickly, and pearl onions. So I am going to, first of all, boil all the chicken, both for the dumplings and the pot pie. And I bought it this time with the bone in and the skin. Those of you who know me know I have to have organic everything. But the skin and the bone give it a whole lot more flavor, and they make your stock just so tasty. So when it comes time to boil the vegetables, I'm going to put them in that same chicken stock, and that'll flavor up the chicken stock with a little bit with the vegetables. So I'll be back as soon as I get the prep work done. The chicken has been boiling for about an hour and a half, and I am taking it out now. I'm going to let it cool, and then I'm going to take the skin off. I'm going to debone it, and I'm going to put it back in there to cook while the dumplings cook with it. But before I start the dumplings, I'm going to put the vegetables in there so they can cook in the broth. The vegetables are for the chicken pot pie, which we're making now, and half the chicken is for the chicken and dumplings that we're going to make next. The carrots and potatoes into the broth so they can absorb some of the nice flavor of the broth. I don't have the onions or the peas in here because they cook very quickly and they only need maybe 2 or 3 minutes in the broth. So here we go. Put it in there. All right. Now we'll let that bubble and cook for about 20 minutes, and I'll see you back then. I would show you how to skin and debone the chicken, just in case. So the chicken has been cooked, and it is very, very done. It is fall off of the bone done. The bone and the skin gave it a lot of flavor, and it made a wonderful broth. But the way you skin it is, this is the skin. You just kind of take it off there, put it in a little pile. That one's still kind of hot, so I'll work on this one. And the way you bone it is you just pick the really good meat off of the bone and discard the rest. And then there's some areas of gristle and hard areas that are not too tasty, so I always cut those off as well. It's looking good. It's looking good. That's looking good. Okay, so this one has been deboned. Vegetables have been boiling about 15 minutes. The pearl onions have been boiling about 3. And you take absolutely everything out, leaving just your stock. I did put the chicken pieces back in and let them cook for about 10 more minutes. Now you just take everything out, and all that remains will be stock. Then I'm going to divide half the chicken, put half the chicken back into the stock, and we will proceed with the chicken pot pie from that point forward. I have separated out my chicken from my vegetables, and this is really a step you wouldn't have to take if you were making one or the other. But since I'm making both chicken and dumplings and chicken pot pie, I had to separate it out. Half the chicken will go with the chicken and dumplings and will go back in the broth, and half the chicken will go in with the vegetables and into the chicken pot pie. We're going to cut this chicken up, get it in with your cooked vegetables. And then we're going to add back those peas. We're going to put in the soup that I showed you earlier. And you don't have to cut them up really, really thin because it's going to cook in the soup when it's in the oven. I am rolling out the pie crust, and it is a pre-made pie crust by Pillsbury, and they're really simple to use. The only problem when you use one of these things instead of making your own is if you have an exceptional deep dish pie plate, which I do today. So you just kind of have to stretch it and hope it gives you enough. I was too lazy to make my own pie crust, which I really should have done.
We'll save that for another day.
Yeah, we will. This is for people who just want to make something easy. So what you do is you put your pie crust, your shell, over the top of the dish. And you can see where I've kind of squished it, so you don't want any holes in it. There we go. Oh, this is pretty good. Okay, I might have some that I can hang over. Because really what you do want is you do want it to hang over just a little bit, maybe 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, anything that you can get, any extra that you can get is good. You want to just gently push it down until you make a crust. So now, we have a pie crust, which we are not going to bake. We are going to put the chicken and the vegetables in. I went ahead and put the peas in. The peas did not go in the broth because peas cook very, very quickly. All right, you kind of mix all that up, get it all mixed up together, and then you're going to put in your soup. It doesn't have to be dripping, but you know, it has to be enough that you've got the, not really liquid because it's, you don't put water into the soup, you just use it as is.
You just want things covered.
Yeah, just want things covered. Okay, so we'll use the whole thing. It looks pretty tasty. And then we're going to put it in the oven at 375, and I forgot to preheat it. So there we go. Okay. And this is how it looks. This is how it should look. See, everything's kind of coated, but nothing's coated too much. All right, so this is the way it should look, just like this. And we are going to pop that bad boy into the pie shell, and we are going to bake him. This is some Southern comfort. And so is the chicken and dumplings, don't you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I must say though, chicken pot pie,
Yeah, there's nothing like
has a special place in my heart and stomach.
So good. All right.
Oh, that's very full.
Yeah, that's all I can put in there. I did make a little bit too much.
So just so everyone sees, that's what's left over from the ingredients we used before.
So really that would have probably been 2.5 to 3 russet potatoes, 3 to 3.5 carrots, 2 single servings of the bird's eye peas, and about 1.5 cups of the pearl onion. Now I salted the chicken before I put it in to boil. So I didn't salt it again. I also peppered it before I put it in to boil. So I did not salt or pepper it again because the soup is salty and it does have the herbs and roasted garlic just over it. And again, with the rolling it out, be very careful if you're like me and you've left it out, because it's going to be gooey.
But you do have to leave it out for a certain period before you use it anyway, right?
Yeah, you need to leave it out for about 30 minutes so it gets pliable. And so we're going to start covering the pie. Now you start blending the bottom crust that you've hung over the pie plate in with the crust that's left right here.
Looks like you're turning it up.
Yep, I am, so I can blend them in together. And they don't come apart that way. And then this pie dish has a fluted edge. So it's really cool. You can get a really pretty crust that way just by following the edge. But any kind of pie dish will be fine. So this was about 2 pounds of chicken, bone in with the skin on. So that would probably be about, I don't know, 1.5 pounds without the bone and the skin. Oh, that looks so good. And you're going to put it in that 375 oven for, start checking it at about 45 minutes. Because your oven might cook a little different from mine. And here you go. Here's when you can start making it pretty. Oops. Ta-da! Holes in the top shell so the pie has room to vent the steam. You kind of open them just a little bit so the steam can escape. And you want it to be pretty. And then a little hole right in the center. Okay. Now you put it on a cookie sheet and you put it in the oven, 375 for about 45 minutes to an hour until it's golden brown and bubbly. Then you know it's done. So in we go, and I will see you in about an hour. I am back. The chicken pot pie baked in the oven for about 1 hour and 5 minutes. I did turn it down to 350 because it was getting a little too brown on the top too fast. And I'm going to give it about 25 or 30 minutes to cool down just a bit before cutting into it. If you cut into it too soon, all the filling will run out on the plate and you won't really have a pie. So I'll be back one final time to show you what it looks like when we cut into it later. So here is the finished product, the chicken pot pie. Ron, if you'll come in and just give them a close-up on it. I have let it set for about 45 minutes out of the oven. And now we are going to cut into this yummy, flaky pastry pie. I'm going to try to get it out of there in one piece. I don't usually have much success with that, especially with the first piece, but here we go. And there it is. And I tell you what, some of this did come out. I did lose some of it out. So that is just one piece of pie. It is going to be an awesome dinner. Bon appetit.